Today we're talking about perfection and how we can balance perfection, wanting to be perfect, with actually getting things done. Because a lot of times perfection can hold us back. I think the easiest answer, the easiest, most accessible thought for me is my YouTube channel. Honestly, I mean, I started this channel last year in 2020. One of the few good things that came out of 2020. And it honestly was something I was planning on doing for a while. It was something that I thought about. I had tossed around in my head so many times, and I'm like, oh, I want to do videos. I want to do videos. I want to do a video about coaching. I want to do a video about this interaction with a client. Like these really, really cool things I want to share, these ideas that I want people to know about. Well, whether it's about coaching, whether it's about business, whether it's about just life in general. And I kept stopping myself. I would even film videos, and then I watch like, oh, I can't possibly publish that. Like, there's no way I can publish that because either I look too tired or my hair's not right or whatever. And I was like, oh, I don't look right. I don't sound right. My video quality is not great. My sound quality is not great. I had this mic and I still was like, oh, well, the mic sounds good, but I don't sound great. And it's just, I made all these excuses where it's like, it wasn't absolutely perfect. And honestly, it wasn't until COVID hit that I was like, look, I'm just going to do it. Screw it. Let's just go ahead and do it. And honestly, it was something that Gary Vee said in a couple of his videos. He says it all the time, but just put it out there. It doesn't matter if it's imperfect or not. But he was saying that for years, and I was watching it, and I was still like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it eventually. I'll do it eventually. And I kept putting it off. And finally, I just did it. And I was like nervous as hell when I put it out there because I'm like, people are going to laugh. People are going to be like, whatever. No one laughed. No one said anything. Actually, it got 0 reviews, and no one actually watched it. But the point being that it wasn't a big deal. And eventually, I'm doing it now. I actually love this kind of stuff. It's actually been a cool outlet. And so it's fun at this point. The other thing that comes to mind is I almost want to say sometimes it can be fear driven in the other way, right? It's fear driven in the sense that I don't want to do something that I'm afraid doesn't mean enough, that I'm going to push through the bumps. Right? Like if you like, let's say, for example, you want this YouTube video thing, for example, right? My YouTube channel. Let's say I started that and I talked to folks about it and I told my friends, hey, I'm going to start this YouTube channel, right? And I did it and there were hiccups and whatever. And then I ended up quitting. I'm going to look like an idiot because I quit. And I don't want to look bad because I quit because it didn't mean enough to me, right? To keep pushing through. And that's where I think resolve comes in, right? How strong is your resolve about whatever it is you're going to do, whatever that thing is, whether it's a YouTube channel, whether it's a whatever. It's a powerful thing to do, to actually focus on your resolve and really, like you said, lean into what your soul's telling you to do, right? Lean into what you want people to do, and what you want to do for yourself, and then embrace that and really push through all those difficulties, because nothing's easy. Like just going to be an easy cakewalk that's worth having, right? And so these things, especially entrepreneurship, business ownership, whatever that is, your career is not, there's nothing that's going to be like laid out for you for your entire life. And if it is, it's probably not worth having. Authenticity is something that people kind of tend to hide behind sometimes. And they're like, oh, I'm just being authentic. I'm just being me. I'm not that thing. I'm not, but authenticity and complacency are two different things, right? There's a distinction between saying I am, like, for example, I'm a nerd, movie TV nerd, right? I love those kind of things. I love all that stuff, right? It doesn't mean I'm only that and nothing else. And it also doesn't mean that I can't be more of that or more authentically that's something else, right? I don't have to be something that I'm not or try to be something that I'm not to do or to accomplish anything. But people tend to say, oh, I'm just not that. I'm just not that person. I'm just not that person. Or I'm an introvert. I can't possibly network, right? Fear is a really powerful thing, and it's only as powerful as we let it be, right? But just to open it up to the folks that are watching, if anyone has any, if it resonates in any way, how is being perfect holding you back? How is wanting to be perfect holding you back, or how has it held you back in the past? Feel free to drop the comments or questions in the chat as we're talking. But we want to also answer questions or address or bring up, is this resonating for you guys? But like you said, it's just something where it's like you have these beliefs that we create in our heads, like oh, this thing has to be perfect before we submit it or before we put it out there into the world. And that belief alone is going to stop you from doing this thing, right? It's going to stop you from putting all this stuff out there. Think about all the things that might have never been created if they weren't put out there as imperfect, right? And then think about other things too, like, for example, the first computer, right? You could argue that first computer was not perfect. It wasn't perfect, but how do you measure that though? Do you measure it by today's standards, or do you measure it
Hmm.
by back then standards, right? What standards are you using? By whose standards are you saying something is perfect? They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's 100% true, because it's subjective, right? Perfection is even subjective. People say that there's a perfect person out there for everybody, whatever you want to say about that. But it's something where it's like, where I find perfection, you may be like, that's weird,
Hmm.
or vice versa, right? And so it's something where it's like you're looking at things with your own lens, with your own experiences, your own beliefs, your own hopes, dreams, all that stuff, right? All your entire story informs how you see things in the world.
Yeah. And
And
I also think perfection is a moving goal.
yes, I mean, it's something to aspire to, but you're never going to achieve perfection, right? But you get as close as you can to it. We are, whether we like it or not, we are exactly where we need to be, right? We are exactly where we need to be for some purpose. We don't have to know the purpose right now,
Hmm.
right? The purpose, we get impatient. I get impatient. I'm not saying I'm perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I definitely get impatient with myself and my business and things, and happening not as fast as I want them to, right? But that's natural for people who aspire and want to grow and keep building. But we got to appreciate sometimes, just take a second and realize that we are exactly we want, where we need to be. Whether we
Hmm.
want to be there or not, we are where we need to be. And we're exactly where we're supposed to be to keep moving forward, to keep growing. And to dovetail on what you said, Nahid, letting fear drive you, you're never going to get what you want if you let fear drive you. It's just not going to happen.